Hello, this is Valorcraft Workshop. My name is Will, and this is my Monday morning live, and it is not Monday morning, but it is Monday. This is the first time I've done a Monday morning live on a Monday, so that's a step forward. A little bit of improvement each day is what they say. Kind of slow and steady wins the race, right? I got on a battle rhythm over the last couple of weeks where I start writing essays on. I write an essay on Friday, publish it to Substack on Friday, and then comment on it, reflective thinking out loud on Monday. Although it's been Tuesday, Wednesday, different days of the week when I've done it in the past. But the goal is Monday. And this Friday's essay wasn't about productivity. It was really more about clarity. And so this is my reflection on that video, not so much a report, not me reading the essay I wrote, but just pulling a couple nuggets out of it that I want to talk about a little bit more that I've been thinking about. And the main theme from that essay on Friday was a concept called addition by subtraction. And this was something that a soldier I worked with years ago at a couple different duty stations, he said this at one of the places when he was leaving. He said the unit was going to experience addition by subtraction with him departing the unit. And his self-deprecating humor he's a master of it, and always a joy to be around. But that's not really the sense I'm using this term. I'm stealing this phrase, but giving it a little bit different meaning. We instinctively add tools and projects and commitments and content, and we're usually in add mode and get more and more tools in the shop. Typically don't get rid of tools. It's like, how many hammers do you need? How many bandsaws do you need? I had one bandsaw that survived the fire, but got drenched with water, so it got a little bit rusty. So it's a tool I was going to clean up and resell. Meanwhile, I've replaced that bandsaw. It's adding a tool that I don't need two of, but by cleaning up that tool and selling it, the old one, I'm going to free up some space. So I'm going to add space to the shop. I'm going to add money to my pocket. I'm going to add a little bit of relief that I no longer have that monkey sitting on my back of when am I going to get around to cleaning that tool up and selling it. So just as one example of an addition by subtraction moment with a physical object. But we do this with projects. We keep adding to our to-do list. We keep adding tasks to our to-do list at a rate faster than we're actually able to check those tasks off and send them on their way, which takes up mental space. Culling those lists, it adds mental space for you by subtracting things off that list or things that are weighing down on your mind. This works with commitments too. How many people have said yes to too many things? And it's so much easier to start with no. Nope, probably can't do that. And you can always release that later and say, hey, you know what? I do have some time in my schedule to do it. But me, for instance, I tend to do the add more. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. And it typically leads me into troubled areas of overwhelmment of things to do. I've done this with content too. I've been on the side of let's make a huge list of different videos I could make. Then now I've got a list of 200 videos I could make, and I don't make any of them, or it's too forced. So it's part of the reason why I switched to this live format, going live once a week, so that I'm not dealing with editing. I have a topic that's something I'm already thinking about and not something forced of, hey, maybe this will work as a video, and going that route. And rather than here's how subtraction would work in this process. I could take that list of 200 videos and I could take the top 10% of those and cull it down to 20 videos that, hey, these ones would be good, and hide the rest of them. They could still be there. We can look at them again later, but I can't make 200 videos. I can't make more than one video at a time anyway. Why not take that list of 20 that I culled down and now take the top 10% of that, pick the best two, and then go from there. And then it's going to free so much headspace of thinking about all the videos I could make, or I think I should make, and I'm only focused on the one that I'm going to make. So another example of addition by subtraction, I added mind space, thinking space by subtracting out all the little, a general I used to work for that called them ankle biters, little ankle biters. little things that are nipping at your heels, little chihuahuas that are nipping at your heels all the time. These are emergencies, but they're not really. It's just stuff that's distracting you from getting the real work done. So most progress that I've been experiencing lately, or best days I have, are days that I've deliberately pulled some things off the list, or I've removed products from my Etsy shops, things I don't like them to make, or things that take more time than they're worth, and the juice isn't worth the squeeze on them. And by subtracting them from the listing, I can put more effort into those products that I do enjoy making, or the ones that have a better profit margin for the time spent on it, or the ones that teach me a skill that I can improve upon a skill or something with. That's where most of that progress has come from removing things, not by finding, oh, here's another new thing, let me add that to the list, and that's the big hit. Typically, you have to make space for stuff. And definitely, I do go through seasons of expansion and compression, expansion, compression. So there are times the list builds and builds. Sometimes you have to hit stop, clear out all the waste, and bring yourself back to a normal, doable, feasible level of things to do. Again, going back to my notes, just because I tend to wander off the ranch a little bit. So subtraction, it creates some space for judgment, for play, for intention. And I guess that's the message of all of this, is just being deliberate about what you're doing, deliberate about it, being intentional about it. It just helps for a lot of clarity of thought. So what have I been letting go of? And a lot of this has been in the content realm, as I mentioned earlier. I'm doing fewer of these plans of the day videos. In fact, I'm not sure I'm really doing plan of the day videos anymore at all. It served its purpose for a while. I think I made up about 100 of them. At the very beginning of the day, putting out a YouTube short, a 3-minute video that just says, here's what I'm working on today. Here's what's coming off the 3D printers and the focus for the day. Now, it's a 3-minute video, but to make that 3-minute video, and I've probably said this a number of times, so I won't beat the dead horse, but oftentimes that 3-minute video takes an hour or two to make. So it defeats the purpose at that point when part of the plan of the day, or like 20% of the day, is taken up telling you what I'm going to do that day. So it defeated the purpose on that. So doing these live videos, it's removed a lot of friction. It's added some friction too, because the software I use to do these live streams has just been kicking my butt. I think I've found the eternal fix now, but I digress. So less friction means more thinking. So I get that hour back each day, hour or two back each day, except for this video on Mondays, to think more or work more, do more with my hands, to knock out some of these projects that have been sitting around a little too long. So with fewer forced outputs, like I've had all these different series. I'm looking over here to my right where I've got a list of all the different segments I was planning on doing on this channel about a year ago when I was laying all these out. Work in process, is a SWOT analysis in the middle of the week. Hey, here's where I started the week. Here's what I've discovered during the week. These are the strengths of what I've been doing. These are the weaknesses I've had. These are some opportunities that came up, and there are some threats to my time or to money or to whatever. And I think I made 1 or 2 of those, and then that kind of stopped. I was doing show your work videos on Sundays, and I was doing free for all Friday, which could be a maker's take or a Mary Fork Kill video, or a tool or technique or tool review, or I had every day of the week planned for all the different content within each of those days. I had a whole list of different topics I could do for those segments. And then what it results in is none of them get done because it was too much and it was too forced. And it was the point of it. So I'm liking this battle rhythm I have now. Going to get better at actually doing the Monday morning live Monday morning, but writing the essay on Friday, I really write it Thursday night, publish it on Friday, and then can think on it through the weekend, and then do this video on Monday if I can get my equipment hooked up, and then I don't have to edit it. Now, if I do edit it, I'm going to try to do an abridged version. I did that from last week's video, where I basically just go in and very quickly through some software I have, pull out all the ums, ahs, buts, and I know there's a lot of them, and spaces over a second long, and trim all those down to half a second long. And last week's video, I think, was 48 minutes, the live video. And just by doing that and pulling out the front end trailers of just, hey, I haven't remembered. I'm just checking to make sure I remember to stop the recording or start the recording. Trim the ends off of it. I took that 48-minute video down to 39 minutes. So just with that, and it's a little choppy edit, but if you wanted to get the content from this live stream without having to watch all my BS about woe is me, my software didn't work right, and listening to me go all the time, and pregnant pause where I'm like, what am I going to say next? Like that'll get trimmed out for that video. And then I can pull if maybe I'll say something profound or something else I want to think about a little bit more or ruminate on or discuss a little bit further. I can pull those out, make shorts out of those too. So it's removed a lot of friction for me, freeing up time to put a little more thought into what I write on Fridays and what I record on this video on Mondays. And rather than it being a forced content creation, making stuff for the sake of making stuff, I really am trying to get it more to documenting than on the content side. Documenting what I'm doing, not doing something in order to document it, if that makes any sense. So projects I'm already working on. Like I don't want to record videos if it's just a thing for the purpose of recording a video, if it wasn't something I was already going to do or I was already doing. And that's the point of this as well. And I'm trying to say no more to because I can work. So I'm trying to pat myself on the back or try to claim to be a stable genius or anything. But I've referred to myself as Will of all trades before. I either know how to do a lot of things or I can figure out how to do a lot of things. But just because I can do the thing or I can figure out how to do the thing doesn't mean I should do the thing, or doesn't mean I have to do the thing, doesn't mean I must do the thing. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot because it's been my entire life. Yeah, I might cry now. Like doing this self-therapy on a YouTube live. My entire life has been like that. See something? Oh, I can do that. And then you throw it in the rucksack and you carry that thing all along and it's good. Now I do that too. So it's like drummer, conductor, commander, just kept throwing these things in. And some of it was job related. And yes, you're going to do those things for that season at least. Beekeeper, that one was in there for a while. We'll talk about that in a minute. Woodworker, now you start adding tools, 25 years of building this shop, really, collecting tools over all these years, having a fire. So expansion, built tools, fire, compression, got rid of some stuff, threw some stuff out because it burnt up in the fire, but bought some new tools to replace those tools. Bought some new tools to replace tools that I didn't actually replace the tool. I kept the tool because I'm going to clean it up and sell it too. I'm no longer with that insurance company, so I guess I could say that. But I haven't actually sold it. It's still sitting here. I could still throw it out. So you keep putting more and more rocks in the rucksack and never taking time to unload those rocks. And so the metaphorical rocks can be real big, heavy ones that are weighing on your mind, or it can be physical ones like a 600-pound table saw or whatever, a 6-foot by 6-foot table that holds your CNC router. That's giant. And how do you move that thing around? Where do you put that? Eventually you run out of space. Eventually your back can't take it anymore. Your mind can't take it anymore, carrying around such a load. Yes. So that is the phrase of just because I can doesn't mean I should. And I think a lot of us fall into this place of doing things because we can when we should have said no. Now, some good things come out of that too. Definitely some good things come out of that as well. But it's just being deliberate about it and not defaulting to yes all the time just because you can do it. There's, again, I talked about there being seasons in your life. And one of these things, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'll get to it when it's time, so I don't go off script too much. So letting some ideas bounce instead of capturing everything is something I'm working on too. I don't have to I've captured a lot of video. There's a lot of video that's been captured that never comes out on YouTube just because it's whatever. I documented it, but it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the time, or I didn't set aside the time to do it, or time was lost. So I want to document more than I just produce for the sake of producing and make it a little bit more relevant. So now let me take us through the head, hands, heart framework for a second too, of what subtraction is making room for. From the head lens, it's allowed for some clearer thinking, for sure. Fewer competing ideas, and really getting more focused on what it is I'm doing in here. That's what's led me from production mode all the time and chasing what that next product is to creation mode, free play. Let me jump over to the YouTube. I'm back. Good. And there. Yeah. Fewer competing ideas in the head allows for clearer thinking. Again, unloading that rucksack a bit gives room for the ideas that are left to bounce around and collide and think of these things together. From the hands perspective, I'm working toward and getting the space. I keep saying, every time I'm on a video, I talk about cleaning up the space, and then you look behind me and it's not cleaned up. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But to free up the space so that I can use it to create, and the tools are in the right place, and I've got workspace to lay things out and introduce things to each other and create something new. And then if I create that new thing and it's like, I like it, and I might find others like it, then that becomes the product. What I've been doing over the last 2 years is looking for that product that's selling on Etsy, like using some software to analyze different shops and different products that are selling, and going, oh, I can make that too. Let me make that. And it's chasing my tail. It's chasing someone else's creation. And I'd rather create my own thing, and then if it sells, it sells. From the heart perspective, it's just searching for the work that feeds my soul rather than doesn't feed my soul. Sadly, I don't have a better way of saying that right now. I guess it feels more aligned with my purpose than an obligation of something I have to do. I think a lot of moving into the space, it started to become, I have to be productive. I have to make products that sell. I have to engrave these things and those things. I have to 3D print ducks. And so I got ducks everywhere. I still 3D print ducks. But I'm starting to make the ones that I feel will sell better. I'm a little more selective about some of these things now. Rather than feel obligated, oh, if the guy, I work with this one designer in particular, exclusively, and he produces like 3 or 4 designs a week. And rather than feeling obligated to, I have to sell all of them, I'm being very selective now of which ones I sell. And I know which ones have been selling, and reprinting those ones, and actually pulling some of the ducks out of the shop because they haven't been selling, and it's just get rid of them. I don't like, let's free some space so people aren't overwhelmed looking at the shop like, oh, he's got every duck in the world. Let's just make it the cool ones. There's another example of where these things are at. So a lot of the subtraction in the studio space is to make this a thinking space and not just a production space. And the subtraction is helping with that for sure. Within this realm, constraints as a creative tool, that's another topic I've been exploring. Constraints reduce that decision fatigue and protect my attention. I've got 100 different colors of filament. I don't have to offer every 3D printed product in every color. It's decision fatigue that comes from that for the customer. For me, which ones do I make? Which ones do I print ahead? How do I do this listing? It just becomes overwhelming. Sometimes, hey, this is offered in these 3 colors. This product's offered in these other 3 colors. You can request custom if you want something completely different. Or in the example of, I engrave these ammo cans. I do whiskey glasses that go in here. This is a screwed up one, and it's got like test patterns and other stuff on it. But a lot of people that sell these, they engrave one side of it. I engrave that side, I engrave that side, I engrave the top, I engrave the handle, I engrave the front latch, can even engrave inside. And some of the customers, they're just like, I just want this thing. And I find myself, I've been like, don't you want this on there too? And you could do this, and you could do this. Hey, they only want this, give them that. Or just sometimes offering fewer options make things a little less confusing and a little bit easier to finish up. Fewer choices, it doesn't mean less freedom. It actually provides more focus and easier decisions. So there's a couple classic examples in the clothing realm. President Obama was notoriously known for, he had blue suits and gray suits and only a couple different colored ties. So he didn't have to think hard about what he's going to wear that day, any given day. Now, the one day he wore a tan suit and everyone lost their mind, that probably reinforced the idea that he should just have the two suits. It'd probably be better for him. And the other one, Steve Jobs, blue jeans and the black mock turtleneck, right? He didn't have to think about what he's going to wear on a day. Just made things easier. Constraint, it's subtraction in advance. It's not pulling something out. It's pulling something out before it even became a friction point in the first place. So a question to the viewers, which let me pop over to the stream. No viewers right now. Okay. No surprise. All right. I'll ask a question to the viewers anyway. And once I get my screens back oriented how I want them. What is that question? Where could you find, or where could a small constraint in your life free up some mental space, either decision-making or weekly or daily tasks lists, or what constraints could you put in? What guardrails could you place into your life that would aid you? That would be an example of an addition by subtraction. Drop those in the comments. I would love to continue this discussion if you ever watch this, because no one's watching right now. So I'm talking to myself again. In a practical translation of this, I already discussed a little bit about tools I'm not reaching for anymore, or I think for me, it's more of a thing of I'm not buying more new tools. In fact, I'm looking around the shop at things that I haven't touched in a long time, and I'm going to start getting rid of stuff because it frees up the obligation of I own it, so I feel like I should use it. But if I'm not really using it, I should just get rid of it and get it out of my view. And then I won't feel guilty about not using it. That sense of obligation will be gone because the tool's gone. So not buying tools, getting rid of some tools, or if I'm getting something newer and better, then getting rid of the thing that it's replacing. And if it can replace, if it's so good and better that it replaces two tools, that's even better. Like the more Swiss Army knives I can get that truly can part ways with multiple other tools, larger tools, that would be better. So that's how I'm applying this. I look at projects that I've intentionally been delaying or shelving. There's numbers of reasons for that. They don't all fit the addition by subtraction rule, but so I'll just hit the projects around the shop itself. Like sometimes you got that friction point of there's something that's keeping you from getting started on the thing. It's like going back and looking at it and going, is this something I really want to do? There's my timer when I need to shut up. Is this something I really want to do, need to do, have to do? Or is it just, again, something I'm feeling obligated to do because, hey, a good shop has a big outfeed table off the table saw. So I was going to build this big outfeed table, but I'm thinking, I don't really need it. I don't use the table saw that much. I don't need a huge outfeed table for it. That's one I can take off the list and stop stressing it. The other thing is I've bought plans to build this thing. I think I bought John Malecki's plans to build the outfeed table. But okay, I've already paid for it, and it's a sunk cost. And it's digital. It's in the folder. If I don't build it, I don't build it. But I don't need to feel obligated to build it just because I paid for the plan. And at some point, I'll get better at not buying the thing before I'm really ready to use it and sure I'm going to use it. And I've talked already where subtraction has helped improve quality for products. Sometimes it's just limiting the number of colors something comes in, or culling out things that just aren't, the juice isn't worth the squeeze in the sense of the time and the lack of profit from a product. Get rid of that product, take it off the product list, out of the shop, and it frees up that space of worrying about it. Limiting the options, limiting the choices, pulling some of those products down, like I just said, or things that take too much time. I make a lot of ornaments, ones that have to be hand painted, and it doesn't feed my soul to hand paint a Christmas ornament of a gnome. And for the $5 profit I'm going to make off of it, not counting the amount of time it takes, it's like I'm working for less than I made in my minimum wage job when I was 15 years old doing that. So the better use of my time will be to, and something that gives me a little bit more joy too, is to design the laser engraved, laser cut ornament, paint one of them, paint two of them to show some variation of it, and then put that digital file up on an Etsy shop and sell the digital file. Let somebody else that wants to paint these things by hand, let them buy the digital file from me. I'll make a couple bucks from that, or I'll make the $5 off of each one of those. So I'll make the $5 once, but maybe there's 10 people that want to buy that digital file because they want to make $5 on each ornament they make, and they're fine painting them. So let them. And I can make the money on the digital file, and I can make that money while I'm sitting on a beach, sitting in my lazy boy, driving the car, sleeping, whatever. So that's certainly a direction that I want to go, and something that Subtraction is going to help me do. By designing things, so there's an addition, but subtracting out the me making it myself afterward, that's going to be a big win. And I think I mentioned this earlier, my life has always been this expansion compression in all different areas. 25 years of building up these tools to culminate in being in this shop. And in parallel, while I'm thinking about maximizing the efficiency of the space, I also understand that this is temporary in nature, right? This will one day end. Like this isn't forever. While I'm thinking about making this the best shop it can be, I'm always thinking in my head, what's next? And what's the off-ramp look like? When do the big tools start disappearing? When do I want to stop making sawdust and start making, I don't know, I was going to try to make some profound statement about bits, bytes, ones and zeros, digital product. Like when can I move from needing 1,100 square feet to less? What can I fit in my garage? Where can I fit a laser engraver and a 3D printer and a computer? And when is that enough? And it's not calling me anymore. Oh, you must make stuff on us. No, it's there for me as a creation tool, but it's as a creation tool for digital products that I'm making, and not so much that I'm the guy that makes Christmas gnome ornaments, right? So these are competing thoughts that are always in my head. So what's one thing that you could remove from your life? A tool, a task, a technique. Let me continue this alliteration. A toxic presence, a toxic relationship. I don't know. A lot of T's. Tool, task, technique. What's something that you can deliberately go, hey, you know what? I think that thing is costing me more, whether it's money, time, mental space. It's costing me more than it's gaining me. So drop in the comments on this. What's one thing you could pull out, you could subtract from your life that would give you a little bit more clarity, thought, align your actions with your core principles more? And not forever. It's not something you have to get rid of forever and always, but maybe just temporarily, and see how that changes your thinking. Another T word. I'm thinking like, stop watching the news. I think after I watch the news, I need several more minutes. Actually, last night, for the first time in a very long time, it took me probably 5 songs to fall asleep. Usually I fall asleep before the first song ends. I have no problem sleeping, but just the news lately has just been driving me crazy. And I won't get political, and I won't tell you what side of the fence I'm on any of it, but it's distressing, and I might do better to take a detox from watching the news for a while, or just not watch Fox. I don't know. Maybe that could be it. So what would that subtraction that you took out, what would that subtraction make possible for you? Would it give you more time? Would it give you more money? Would it give you just more space to think about other things and maybe create something newer, better, or improve upon something else in your life? So I invite you to reflect on that in the comments below when I trim this video down a little bit for the abridged version that cuts out my ums and spaces, dead air time, and all that. Please comment and let's keep that discussion going. And you can discuss it over on Substack as well. I'll drop the links for the essay that kind of went along with this talk today with that. So in conclusion, just a reminder, subtraction isn't loss per se. In fact, oftentimes it's a gain. That's exactly what I said from the start, addition by subtraction, right? It's aligning yourself with your core principles. If you think of it like a block of marble, like a sculptor would do, you're starting with a block and you're removing the stuff that is not the sculpture. It's a subtractive process that gets you the gain of the work at the end, as opposed to woodworking, which tends to be a additive process for most things, a little bit of both. I won't dive down that. Let's just stick with a good analogy of the sculpture. It's addition by subtraction. That's probably one of the better examples of addition by subtraction. So again, subtraction isn't loss. It's a gain, it's alignment with your core principles. I'm going to continue with these Friday essays and Monday morning lives and see where things go from there. I'll probably still throw a show your work in at the end of the week just to show what's happened in the shop during the week. Make those quick and fun. And any other things I discovered during the week, I might pop on real quick to do a short video, continue to document the other projects I'm doing in hopes of sticking those together for some better video content as well. So this is Valorcraft Workshop. This is Valorcraft Workshop, and this is Valorcraft Workshop. Head, hands, and heart. That's the framework I operate in. That's the work I'm doing. And I'll talk to you again next week.